I'm so excited. It is time to taste the pastries I got at the first real pastry shop adventure here in Annecy. I got 2 macarons. There were, I don't know, I wasn't counting, 15, 16 kind of flavors. They did not look awesome. They looked fine. In France, it seems like macarons are generally a bit smaller, and I don't know, some of the shells looked a little bit wonky and like they weren't quite made right no matter what your style is. And it seemed like there were a lot of buttercream fillings, which surprised me. And there were a lot of fruit flavors, but the fillings mostly still looked very white, which makes me very skeptical how much fruit is in the filling. So with that in mind, I went for this chocolate coconut, which I'm curious about because again, the filling is white, so maybe that's coconut. It seems like there's a thin layer of chocolate on the top, which I hope is good. Then I got caramel because love caramel. And the filling is like chunky for how big that macaron is. It's a lot of filling. And it looks like it is purely caramel. It's not like a caramel ganache or a caramel buttercream or like that's just caramel. So I'm excited, but also a little scared by that. The next thing, I got a petite as well. There were actually quite a few. It was really nice. And I got one that had raspberry because I love raspberry, and it's simple, but it's really cute. Well done. The layers are nice. The glaze is usually a thing that gets me, but look at that. Let's focus in on that. Like the glaze is very thin. It is pretty clean for all that there's like nothing to hide at the bottom. The base looks quite thick, which I don't love, so I hope it's delicious. And then we do see a tiny little sponge in there, which I also like, just some different elements. It seemed like a lot of their petites were on the simple side, and like they would have the little tag, and all of them listed like 2 things. And this one too, it listed like 2 things, but clearly there are like 4 things going on here. So I was a little bit worried with some of them that it would literally be like mousse and like biscuit or something like that. So there were a lot of them that flavor sounded good, but I was worried it might be just mousse, so I passed up on them. The other thing I kind of forgot about France is that it is cheaper to take them like this. There was a little space, like a tea room, with cute like chairs and nice tables to hang out in, but everything was a bit more expensive if you stay. So I forgot about that. It makes sense, absolutely, to pay more for service. But yeah, anyway, my plan was to take them home so I could do this without looking like a weirdo. Anyway, let's get into tasting these. I think I'm gonna go in for the macarons first. So let's start with the caramel one. I think, yeah. I mean, this side, it looks very nice and normal, and then there's like, what is going on here? So let's bite into this. Oh, really dense. The shell texture is really perfect, honestly. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. Like it tastes like caramel, but also it's a very light caramel. Yeah, I kind of wish that was a deeper flavor or had some like vanilla or more of like a salty caramel or something. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, let's go on to this next one. Here we have with that chocolate and little shreds of coconut, the mystery filling. Something's going on with the feet over here, but that's fine. I think because there seems to be some kind of coconut gel on the inside. Can you focus on this and not my face? Maybe. There's like a gel Oh, it's actually really nice. Because of the chocolate, it's a bit messy to eat. It's soft, but it is a good texture. And honestly, it's like super, super coconut. It tastes like, what are those? Like Almond Joy bars or whatever. Like that kind of coconut. Like almost kind of a mix between real coconut and fake coconut. But it works. I like it. I'm a little surprised. I was worried about that one. But yeah, I would get that again. Okay, now it is time to try the raspberry chocolate petite that I got. And let's just quickly talk about what I'm judging when I'm gonna taste this. So if it is someone who is not a trained French pastry chef, or if they are more of like a home baking kind of person, I won't have the same judgment. So just so we know, I do have a difference between, I'm not gonna judge my friends or random people the same way I will judge this, because professional French pastry shop, etc. So as I already mentioned, the glaze to me is super important. If it's thick, if you can peel it off, that's disgusting. No one wants that. Even if it looks really nice before you cut into it, I hate it. I have had mousse cakes like that before, and so it already looks like that's not gonna happen. What you also want to see are the layers. It's really nice to have different components, but also, do you taste them all? Are they actually important? Because yes, you want a lot of flavors and textures, but if they're there, but they're doing nothing or adding nothing, it's a waste of time and ingredients, and you could have done something else. So as we go through these layers, I'm gonna be wondering about that. This base looks really thick to me, which I'm already worried about. And then the center, it looks like there's some fresh raspberry. So I'm excited that that might cut through all these other layers of chocolate to give us some acidity and brightness. But depending on if someone's using fresh fruit or like a frozen fruit, if it's gonna be very sugary, that might change my mind whether, again, was it worthwhile? Should they have done something different? One last thought here before I dig in. When I was working in a bakery and making cakes like this, I would sometimes see people go in like from the top, and they would literally like eat it from the top down. And you can do that, like do whatever works for you. But also, if you really want to evaluate a dessert as a whole, you need to get every single layer, because that's how the chef intended you to eat it. Otherwise, they would have made a different kind of dessert. So make sure you don't have to do the cross cut. I think it's nice to see, but definitely when you go into it, go down to the bottom till you hit everything and get a piece with all the layers. So let's do that. Okay, let's give this a try. I really like that. It's really nice. So I was really worried about this base, but it seems to me like it's a lot of feuilletine. It's super crumbly. It is not dense. I cut through it just with the side of my fork, like no problem. Super crunchy and crispy. Has a really nice hazelnut flavor. I'm guessing there's some praline in there. A little bit of chocolate. So it's just a really nice, it actually is a really nice crunch. I was worried it might also be a little bit mushy when I cut through it so easily. It's not the case. Actually, I'm really impressed. After the macarons, I was a little bit nervous that the flavor would be a bit of a miss. But it's good. I like the fresh raspberry in there. I think that the amount of raspberry is enough for all the chocolate. If you go to Rose and Edge, I definitely recommend trying out some of their petites. I think if you are here on vacation, it's a great idea to hang out in their like salon de thé. Otherwise, I think taking them home was really easy. It was super nicely boxed up. Everything stayed in place. It didn't go flying all over the place, even when I was walking home. So that was really nice. I do think the petites are worth it. I do not necessarily recommend the macarons unless you are super craving macarons. So they're fine. I mean, the chocolate coconut one, I would recommend. If you are going to get a macaron, I would skip the caramel. I wouldn't eat that. But yeah, all in all, a success. I would go there again. I would buy those petites for a friend, definitely. So yeah, let's go check out another shop. All right, it is time for another adventure. I am going to go around the corner to a bakery and try to get some bread and croissants, or I don't know, viennoiserie kind of things. And it is not a place I've been to before. It wasn't super on my radar, and it is not my usual local bakery that I go to on the weekends or when I'm at the farmer's market. And so yeah, I wasn't really noticing it or aware of it, but I saw over the weekend that there was a huge line out the door. So it caught my attention and I did a little bit of research, and it seems to be like a really popular place. So I want to go check out this bakery and just see what they have. It looks relatively large from the outside. Looks could be deceiving, so we'll see what they have, but I think I'll bring whatever it is home and just try some things out here so you get a better look at everything without me trying to sneak it and awkwardly film inside the bakery. Though it looks like it's big enough that there might be seating inside, so we will have to investigate further. Let's go. Hello. So I was a bit mistaken. I totally thought this place was like boulangerie, like bakery, and it kind of was, but it was like boulangerie patisserie. So yeah, the pastries were way more inviting. So this has turned into a pastry adventure today, which honestly I'm thrilled about. But because they also had bread, they had a ton of pre-made sandwiches, which I would have been excited about, but I bought a bunch of things at the store yesterday, planning to buy bread today so I could make my own sandwich. So yeah, anyway, I got a baguette. So for your, I don't know, ASMR needs, here's some baguette sounds. Okay, it's good. Definitely while I was in Korea and Japan, that kind of crunchy bread was like the hardest thing to come by. Asia does, I should say Japan and Korea do like soft bread so well, but they do not do this kind of bread well. It's so hard to find, and if you do find it, it is super expensive. So anyway, I did buy this baguette. I'm gonna make a sandwich with that, and I ended up getting 2 pastries. I got a raspberry tart because it's classic, and though sometimes it does make me upset if I see that some places because it's so classic. Like kind of bordering on boring, and so yeah, depending on how full the case is, this might change my mind, but the case was full of things, and I kind of like the idea of trying something very simple and then also something a little bit more extravagant. So I also got this mousse cake, and honestly I'm concerned. You might know how I feel by now about glaze. This glaze already looks like it's pretty thick, so I'm worried about that. It's not the cleanest thing I've ever seen. I do like this like twill and the like fresh flour on top. I think that that's a really nice touch. I wasn't super listening when I asked her what was inside. The tags just had names, and this one was called like Peps or something. Like, I don't know. It was just like very simple. I think she said something about strawberries and lemon or lime or something. So we'll see. We'll find out together. So I'm going to cut into these. I like to, as you may know by now, do a cross section just so we can see all those layers, get a good visual, and then we'll get to tasting. All right, so I'm gonna start with this pink one because I'm getting more and more worried the more I look at it. So yes, I'm hoping it's okay, but we'll see. Okay, here's what I'm scared about. And I'm gonna bring the camera down so I can show you what I mean about this glaze. Okay, here we go. Some of everything, some of everything. I'm nervous to eat this. Okay, so some of my thoughts. The mousse is like very intensely lemon, which I like. It is like verging on almost like not very sweet. It's quite sour, which really helps because there's a lot of sugar, I think, in the insert, which is quite gelatinous. I'm kind of disappointed about that. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of fresh fruit or pieces. It's just like a gel. Seems like strawberry mint. But again, it's just a gel. There's no texture. The biscuit at the bottom seems like maybe a Sablé Breton or something. Seems to be really nice and crumbly, and it's pretty thick, and like that, it's a good crunch. It was a little bit of a challenge to dig into. There's a huge difference between how crunchy that is and how soft the rest of it is. And the other thing, so I do like the visual of having the twill on top, but I don't like that blob of cream though. And I still wish the glaze were a little bit more of a thin. I knew there was a fake vanilla flavor somewhere. It's coming from the glaze. It's weird. It's not a good vanilla. It's like fake vanilla. It's fine. It's a fine dessert. It's not bad. It was relatively cheap considering other pastries of this level and this kind of preparation and everything. I think it was less than, it was like €4. So like for that price, I think this is totally fine and acceptable. It's edible, like it's good, but it's not amazing. So I could take it or leave it. Let's try the raspberry. The raspberry, as I mentioned, it's kind of a classic. If you go to a shop and there are like 3 things and one of them is this, I would feel disappointed by that. Unless the whole point is like just traditional French thing, like classic French dishes. Because it's so simple, it's so easy. And unless you have amazing ingredients and amazing flavors, it's gonna end up tasting weird and looking weird. So like the raspberries need to be good. I got the one, there were 2 different versions. This one just has chantilly inside. So I am hoping that this does not have a fake vanilla flavor. This better be a legit chantilly. And then this like biscuit on the bottom, like it better be delicious. I'm still gonna eat it, but there is a huge difference in my mind between like the perfect classic traditional raspberry framboise, tarte framboise, and being lazy, I think. So let's give this a taste. before I get in there, I'll eat everything first and then I'll try that chantilly. Okay, it's thick, it's good. Whew. I'm disappointed. Honestly, the biscuit is just overcooked. You can see how brown it is. And usually golden brown is a nice thing to see, but it almost has this like, not quite burnt, but like it almost tastes like popcorn is the level of like nutty it is. And for me, if I have a biscuit that is going to be this size, if I have some kind of cookie or sablé or whatever on the bottom, I want this to be like a pure, indulgent, buttery, flaky goodness. Like I just want to taste butter. I don't want it to, like maybe a little bit of like caramelization, right? Like a little bit of golden brown, but honestly, this is too dark for me. The chantilly, I honestly couldn't really taste it because of, I just tasted the base here. That does seem to be just cream, so it's fine. It's fine. The raspberries are decent quality raspberries. Not amazing, but they're fine. It's disappointing though. I did not think it would taste that intensely brown and just it doesn't look burnt anywhere. But the taste is like really overwhelming. Oh, okay. Mediocre. Very mediocre in the pastry department. Hopefully the bread will be delicious, and it's a little bit hard to screw up a baguette. So we'll keep trying. Hello friends. So there is a very fancy chocolate shop just around the corner from me. Everything is just around the corner from me. I'm in the best location. I have definitely heard of him before. I think I might follow him on Instagram. And I'm very excited. His shop is really cute. It looks like there are a ton of different kinds of chocolates. They are not usually things that I buy for myself. Like I love chocolate. I love chocolate shops, but I don't usually go out and buy fancy chocolate for me, but I'm going to. So let's head over there. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm going to come home with. Hopefully if I see something super exciting or inspiring for macarons, I will buy that. Otherwise, I might just ask the staff if they have any recommendations, or anything that is like famous there. I don't know. So let's go get some chocolate. Okay, huge success at, I think we're gonna go with calling it Chef de Bruges? Bruges? Don't know. But anyway, the staff, the guy was so nice. I went in, I started asking him like what was his favorite. There were so many options, and he like told me some, and I was like, okay, well, like I'm a chef, I'm a pastry chef, and I just want to try some different things. I like trying unique things. And he was like, okay, yeah, let's just get a bunch of things. So I picked out a bunch of different little truffles, and he recommended a couple, and then he gave me some free ones to eat, and it was just like very sweet. And he let me speak French, even though my French just sucks. And I clearly heard him speaking English with the people in front of me. So it was also like very genuinely, he let me take the lead in conversation with what I wanted to do, even though he was clearly capable of English. So very nice, very happy with how this turned out. I'm so excited. There's this really cute house one that's called like Maison de Chef. And there's one that the guy said was his favorite that's like feuilletine, and I love feuilletine. So yeah, super excited to try these. All right, so time to try some chocolate. I got I got 5 chocolates and then the one that the guy gave me at the store. And they weigh them. So you're not paying a price for individual like truffles or whatever. You just pay for like the weight of it, which I think is a great system because if you have something that is like very light inside or has fewer ingredients or something, I don't know, I feel like usually the dense chocolates are the ones that are going to be more expensive, so that makes a ton of sense to me. And then you're also not trying to buy like 2 or 6 or like fit in within a certain, I don't know, number limit. So anyway, I really like that. And the ones that the guy recommended was the feuilletine one and the Gyanduja, which is like hazelnut. And then I completely forget the other flavors I got, but I got the one that was like Maison de Jeff, and it has his last name on there. Like, how cute is that? I'm just like obsessed. Super excited about that one. There are also a bunch of them that were like kind of open in the top, which I really like, just having that kind of different style. It's like still very much like homemade. It just is a little bit different. So anyway, yeah, really like that. And then I just got like a super kind of basic one. So let's try a couple. I am going to try this guy first. Like chocolate and feuilletine. Which, if you don't know, feuilletine is like if you take a crepe and then were to like kind of dry it out and crunch it up into little pieces. So it's like very crispy, very light. That is very delicious. I really like that one. Okay, and I think I'm going to bite into this house guy next. Let's go for this little maison. Oh, a really nice crunch. That's really good. Oh, okay. If you ever go here, get the little house guys in milk chocolate. I'm a milk chocolate girl myself. If I'm eating just chocolate. In desserts, I am a dark chocolate person, but just chocolates, I am a milk chocolate girl. So anyway, cheers. I have many things to do for the rest of my day. So here's the end of today's pastry adventures, but stay tuned because there are more to come. Okay, the pastry tour is not finished yet, but this video would be so long if I continued going. So I'm going to break it off here into 2 parts. This is part 1 of my pastry tour here in Annecy, and stay tuned. In a couple weeks, I'm going to share part 2 with more of my pastry adventures. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!